Good morning. It is Thursday morning. Here to get you guys excited about being at the easel, talking about the different things that we can do to improve our work, how to get better at our craft. So, anyway, I am here today to talk about how to improve your paintings. If you don't know who I am, I'm Linda Glover Gooch. I am an artist, a teacher. I am a content creator. I am the developer of the online school masterfulpainting.com. And hey, I just swing a brush and try to encourage people to stay at the easel and keep working. For the last several weeks, we've been looking at different elements when it comes to painting. We've been looking at a lot about clouds, and we've been looking at how to handle your brush. When I taught about rolling your brush when we were making great designs in clouds, we talked about being inspired. I've gone over toning your paintings. Today, what we're looking at is how to improve your paintings. How do we bring our paintings up a level to make them, what would be the word, look more professional, not have as much of an amateur look, just get better at how we create and design our scenes, paint our scenes, the palette, the different things that are added to that. So that's what I'm going to go over today. Always, my Facebook Live on Thursday always coordinates with what my blog put out. So my blog is always published on Tuesday. It went out. If you do want to see what's on the blog, because what it does is it enhances what we're doing here. It makes it more just a further detail. So it's at lindaglovergooch.com/110. That is the blog that has to do with how to improve your paintings. So you can later today or make a note of that, or come back to the Facebook Live and look this up, go over to the blog and study more. I have, what I do at the blog is totally different videos, totally different lesson than what I do here at the Facebook Live, but they're siblings, meaning they're about the same subject. It's about improving our art. So that's at lindaglovergooch.com/110, takes you to that blog, and it has lots of information there. I'm going to show a video today, and I'm going to show some slides, and we're going to move on with today's shop talk, right? This is what we're doing. It is shop talk, all about painting, but I always come in the doorway an Arizona picture. So I got to show you. Actually, I have a couple of them for you. So let me pull up this right here. Look at that. That was just the other day, March 26th. Look at that glorious cloud that was building. This is right outside my studio door. Is that not beautiful? I loved that uplifting feeling. That stuff's not easy to paint too. But I loved all the different blues. Look at the very cool blue out in front of that big warm main piece of cloud structure that's kind of starting to billow up. I just thought that was the prettiest picture, and it was happening all around me in the sky. I took lots and lots of pictures, but I thought this was pretty impressive cloud scene. So again, that was an evening picture, 6:15 here in Arizona. And then I have one more. I wanted you to see what our desert is looking like right now. We've been getting quite a bit of rain, and that is the desert not very far from me out here. Not exactly composition wise, we wouldn't put that cactus right in the middle, but it was just more a shot that a friend sent. So there's the desert right now. Look at all that color on the desert floor, and look how green our desert is, you guys. Is that not amazing? So we've had all kinds of these skies going on, big rain squalls, different things, and the desert has been getting a lot of moisture. So back to what we're going to talk about. Let me tell you where we're going. We're going to talk about how to improve your paintings, all right? And what we can do to level it up, like what we can do to, what are some of the things? There's a lot of things. Now at the blog, it talks about multiple subjects on what to focus on or what to look at in your own work. How do we make it a little bit more professional looking and not maybe amateurish looking? So there's a lot of facets to that. Today, I'm going to talk about expressive brushwork. So now I know about 3 weeks, 3 Facebook Lives, I taught you about rolling your brush. That had to do with design, cloud edges, and cloud work. Today, I'm talking about expressive brushwork in general. Now, I've pulled out a video out of my cloud course down in the foreground. So I'm talking a lot about foreground because, much of my expressive brushwork lands in the foreground. Now, I do have some up in my clouds and my thick white lights, but I'm taking us like down into the earth right now. We're going to talk about expressive foregrounds. And one thing, if I've learned anything in teaching students for 25 years, that so many of us, when we start, we have a tendency to lick the canvas, lick, 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 kind of over paint our painting. Anybody relate to that? Over painting your scene? Because you keep thinking, well, maybe I can do this, maybe I do that. But spontaneity is huge. Expressive brushwork goes a long ways. So I'm going to run this video, and this video is out of my cloud course, online cloud course, but it's just bits and pieces down in the foreground because there's some very important key elements I want to tell you about and get you to recognize where I'm trying to take you. So if you guys are ready for the video, let's take off and go watch this. Now, I left my talking in this video instead of trying to dub it out. I thought, well, I'm talking about what I'm doing. But what I want in your mind right now as you watch this video is brushwork, like thick brushwork and really broad brush strokes, not a lot of little tiny things, but using bigger brushes and broad brush strokes. So let's roll here. This is just a couple minutes long. Expressive brushwork. And so I'm going to come here and I'm using a little bit of medium. Next pile, the little bit lighter. That's the yellow ochre and raw sienna, the little bit of orange in it. Don't be afraid to just get up here and lay on that paint. Get something to work with. If you don't have anything to work with, then you're going to come up short. And sometimes when you mix your mixtures, you're not going to know until you come up here with paint where it's landing. That's pretty good. Alter them. Now, you may not get the exact color mixtures that I do. Value. I go back. I know I'm going to want this lighter. I'm just going to get this some coverage back here. Now, right here, what I want you to notice is sort of a tapestry of color going on, because what I want you to look at is how I just laid paint on, and this is the beginning stage, and it's, not super thin, some thick areas, some thin, but I've laid paint on, and you kind of almost have like a little tapestry of color going on there. So I'm going to roll this again, but again, notice what I'm wanting in our minds are the thought process of laying in paint and not overdoing it, not going and rubbing. There will be times when you're going to blend things out, but let's just watch and listen to what I'm saying here. As I start bringing in these mixtures and I start getting some thick paint up here, I begin to come along and sort of flick things around. If your paint's not thick enough, you can't do that. That's that lighter mixture. Not quite that loud. That's better. With this close-up area and just some tweaking with this small Ultimate Long Flat. It's a number 3, and I want to come in and I'll just lay this paint in here and then flick. Next time I go back, I grab a little bit different color right next to it. See how I'm just barely tapping that on? I'm not going overboard. If I want a wider stroke, I can lay my brush flatter or be on the very edge. Maneuvering your brush around, learning how to make your brush be the tool that it was made to be. All right. Okay. So I'm going to take you into some slides now, but I wanted you to watch some of that. Um, when it comes to your foregrounds, if you have a lot of hard pasted on bushes and grasses, they have a tendency to maybe look a little bit more amateurish. So a lot of softening and then some good brush texture and expressive brushwork is a very good addition. So we have these beautiful skies, let's say, or maybe you even have a barn that has got a lot of detail, in your scene. As you get down into this foreground, just because it's up close doesn't mean all your edges have to be hard. You want some expressive brushwork, and we work with paint, and I love the medium of paint. I love oil paint. I love thick marks. I love expressive stuff, and especially up in the foreground. So I'm going to take you through some slides because we're going to talk about this now and see where we are. Now, I talked about the brushes. I use these Rosemary Ultimate Long Flats in my foreground, and I referenced that in that video. And the bigger the picture, I usually will land with about a number 8 or so. Even on like a 9 by 12, sometimes I'll use my number 8 for the very front foregrounds. But that's a great brush. But if you have other brushes that work, by all means use them. But that was the brush that I referenced in that video, is the Rosemary Ultimate Long Flat. But again, there are plenty of other brushes out there on the market that would do the same thing. When I'm doing that expressive brushwork, I'm not using a nice flat sable or a soft brush. All right. Now, that's that tapestry there. So remember when I said, look at the colors. I want you to notice notice this area. Whoops, let me go back to that. I hit my mouse too soon. When I put that first paint on, see this whole area right here? I just, those were just broad brush strokes, and I leave them. Now, a student wants to come back, or even a lot of painters, you might come back and you might brush it again, brush it again, brush it again, and then you've blended all of that, right? We don't want to do that. We want this tapestry of color there for us. So you start there with what we're seeing. And now I'm taking you to a totally different scene, but the same idea. You can see in this slide that expressive brushwork down in the foreground. If you can see where I used like a brush here, look at this expressive brushwork right there. I mean, that's building foreground, and that expressive brushwork brings the forward, brings your subject forward to you as much as very, very intricate detail would, right? Then you can see where some of this stuff, like maybe that green right under there was some of my first marks, right? And then this green right there was some of the marks that came over the top as I begin to develop the scene. So you can tell by heavy, thick paint brings things more forward. Same with this scene. I mean, if you're on a small device, you might not be able to see it completely. You see big, thick brush work. Over there on the far right under that tree, there is some really thick paint. I love this thick paint, that juiciness. That's expressive brushwork, and it brings your foreground forward, right? You have more evidence of texture up close than you do in the background. But now look at this foreground here. Expressive brushwork on the edge of this. See how there's all that expressive brushwork happening. That's just thick paint going in after the fact, but it builds pieces of rocks, right? These are the things that will make your painting stand out, that will give a little more professional look to it. Now, when we're talking about expressive brushwork, look at in the sky. This is where I said I do use expressive brushwork up in my clouds. And this is a painting. Now, if somebody is a very realistic painter, that's all good. They're probably not going to have heavy, thick paint like this. It does depend on the type of painting that you're doing. So, more expressive brushwork with that there. And I wanted to show you this. So this is the close-up water of a scene. And you can see that it's not like softened out a lot. There's some real expressive stuff going on there, right? You can tell that I didn't overblend and I left some thick texture. But when you see this with the whole scene, then this is how it plays out, right? You can see the whole scene, how that texture plays out. It wasn't the focal point of my scene, but having some of the texture down close, it gave you the water to, look at and to examine. Hopefully, that is helping you guys think about what I'm wanting you to think about in today's lesson is when you put in your foregrounds, basically, and it could be some trees too, some real expressive brushwork to what you're doing. If you're painting in oils, by all means, let the medium, the character of oil paint, push yourself. Try it. If you're saying, I don't know if I like all that thick paint, try it and see how it plays out. This is one of the keys to improving is experimenting with different ways of handling your paint, different colors, different ideas, different techniques, whatever you want to call it. This is going to bring your work up a level. Now, none of this overshadows the fact that we need to know how to draw. We need to know how to understand value. We need to know our color wheel. Obviously, all those things play in. Go to the blog, like I had said. I'm going to put the banner back up. At the blog, I have to learn more about this, how to improve your paintings. Visit the blog, lindaglovergooch.com/110. Go visit the blog because I have a whole different lesson. I have 2 different videos on there. One is about broken color, and the other one is about getting more professional look to your work. Just talks about, something totally different than what I showed here. And then there's a lot of reading and ideas and things to help you with this whole thought process. So listen, my friend, I hope that you found this helpful. One thing I want to do, I want to talk to you. I come on Facebook Live, I share stuff that I think is helpful. My blog is all meant to help people. I give away a lot of free information, and I do also have my online courses. I know some of you are in the online course, but I want to also tell you about my online school. So I'm going to go ahead and share a little information. In case you're interested in going further with me, you can visit let me just put this on here, masterfulpainting.com courses. So I have online courses that teach about clouds and a couple different things. I actually have a slide here. Let me add this slide here. So that is the courses that I have: how to paint clouds, painting the Grand Canyon. I have a couple free things on there that are about tools and supplies. And I have a class about all about rocks. So All About Rocks is a shorter course. It teaches you how to approach painting rocks. So I paint rocks in a very abstract way to start, and that's what this course takes you through. It's about a 4-hour long course. With all my courses, you get to reach out to me for help. That is one thing, you do have almost, if you want to call it mentorship, you do get that from me. And there's not a limit on that. So I don't know. 80, we might be in our 80s and you'll be reaching out to me for help. I'm not sure, but it is just how I do it. I don't put a time limit on those things. The next is I do have a Painting the Grand Canyon course. This takes you through a much more full painting of the Grand Canyon, very detailed, and then a lot of lessons, a lot about rocks, but also about atmosphere and painting the Grand Canyon. And then I have my Learn How to Paint the Cumulus Cloud course, which is, you saw a bit of the foreground in today's lesson, but it takes you through that whole cloud in that scene and teaches you how to paint clouds. So that's my little little advertisement of my online courses if you're interested in going further with me. But listen, visit my blog. There's so many lessons at my blog for you guys there. And I'm going to check and see if there's any more questions. Thank you, Betty. I appreciate that. Wonderful class, you say. She has been through the cloud course, so I do appreciate that. So if there's not any more questions, we're wrapping this up. It's 11:26. I really keep my lives to 30 minutes. I will be back here on April the 18th, same time, 11 o'clock on Thursday, April 18th, with another good subject, more information to help, us on our creative journey. This is what we do. It's all about us getting better at what we do. And if you are not following me and you would like to be on my email list, you can join the creative journey at lindaglovergooch.com. It'll be right there in front of your face when you get there, a place to enroll. What you get from me is every other Tuesday, I remind you the blog is out. You get reminded of my Facebook Live, and then if and when I have new courses or new products, I usually will alert you there. My plans, I'm going to put it out there. My plans are in September, I will be launching a sunset course. And that all is dependent on me getting everything done, because there's a lot of work that goes into those. But that is my future goal. I have a sunset course that I've been slowly working up to get ready to start the filming on. And I'm going to share that with you guys. And it will be a full-on course taking you through a whole sunset painting. So my friend, I hope that this was helpful. Thank you all. And listen, if you think of things that you want to learn about, or things that you think would be, hey, Linda, would you do this? Would you consider teaching on this? Then please send me a Facebook note, or, if you have my email, drop it in my email. There's comments on the blog area. You can reach out to me in all different ways. So if there's something that you think would be a very cool thing to learn about, and if I know about it, I'd be willing to share it. And if I don't know about it, maybe that will intrigue me and think, I need to learn about that, right? Okay, my friend, thank you so much for joining. And remember, you stay at the easel, be encouraged. This is a lifetime journey. All right, my friend. Ciao.